Hey guys, what's going on? Jim the Alley here. Welcome to I Tried Playing, a series on my channel where I try playing a game so you don't have to. Today we're going through Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. We're going to do the main campaign, most of the side stuff, and the end game just to get a feel for the whole package, and you guys can make a educated decision if the game is worth it or not to you. Without further ado, there's a lot of shaders that need to be optimized. Let's just skip this and get straight into the game. Once shaders are compiled, you get hit with the read before playing, seizure warning, and then for some reason you get jump scared by text-to-speech for no reason at all, and I just don't understand why it does this.
Press tab to enable text-to-speech.
The beginning of the game just lays out kind of the stakes. The alien invasion from Brainiac is in full force, the metropolis city of the future is in complete ruins, and this whole portion of the game is to just get you used to the characters, just get used to the movement and the gameplay style that you will be using, and general game bits. For example, this bit, you start with Deadshot. You'll use his movement abilities as you go through the area, teaching you about his jetpack, his reset on jetpacks and stuff like that. Then you'll get to the final area where you meet up after doing all the movement stuff, and then you'll just beat some enemies, get used to that, and then move on to the next character. Going one by one in this one, we'll do it one by one, not spoiling the next character that come up. So we'll talk about King Shark next. Found in a tunnel reading a book. He's probably my favorite character design-wise and story-wise. I like him throughout the whole campaign. There's not a moment where he annoys me or comes across as just like an unbearable character. He just seems like a cool dude, and I generally do like him in the game. Gameplay-wise, he has all the guns and all the movement that I like. His movement itself is pretty simple compared to everyone else. He just runs, and then when you jump, he flings himself into the air. And then when you're in the air, you can jump, which makes you glide/swim through the air. You can do that about 3 to 4 times before you end up unable to do anything else and have to fall down. It's generally very simple to use, and it lets you stick in the air for a bit longer. It's probably one of my more favorite movement abilities in the game, and King Shark is probably one of my favorite characters in the game, even though I don't end up really playing him compared to the other 2 characters to come up, which is just saddening. I'm thinking about, now that I'm near the end game and just grinding stuff, I'm just trying to level the characters as well now, and King Shark is definitely a pivot I'm willing to make at some point. But at the moment, you won't see him much in the video, which is kind of sad. But yeah, King Shark is definitely one of the better characters, story-wise, character-wise, and just gameplay-wise. Up next is the guy from Down Under, Captain Boomerang. He's a guy with a boomerang. There's not much else to say about him. He has a cool special ability that you'll see later on, because I do end up using him for a bit because he has shotguns. But the main thing I don't like about him is, I like it in the beginning, I like his teleportation with the Speed Force in his boomerang. And then it gets really irritating, annoying, and hard to move around in a fight, and then I don't like it. So I stop using it. But it is a cool idea, and I think it's cool movement-wise. It's just not for me in the slightest. Last but not least is Harley Quinn, which becomes my main character, which, if you didn't know this, which is something I found out by looking at the global achievements on Steam, technically she is, on Steam at least, on the PC version, she is the most leveled character in the game, followed by Captain Boomerang, followed by Deadshot, followed by, for some reason, King Shark being last. Again, this has to be taken with a grain of salt. You can play it off of Steam, you can play it on the Game Pass, you can play it on Xbox, you can buy it physically, I'm pretty sure. So it's, you gotta take it with a grain of salt when it comes to the Steam achievements being the be-all and end-all. But on Steam, Harley Quinn is the most leveled one, which was maddening to me because I didn't like her at first. Her weaponry, which is like a pistol and SMG, felt awful. The movement on her felt really clunky. I didn't like. Everyone else in this game has a way to reset or continue their movement, and Harley Quinn does not have that. If you're mid-air and you run out of drone, that's it. You don't have any more drone. You can't do anything else. You just gotta wait for the drone to reset. It's just really weird. Not a big fan of it, but eventually it does grow on me, and it is one of the more easy to use mobility tools in the game while in combat, while trying to get through the city and stuff. That I think that's probably why she ends up, and obviously it's Harley fucking Quinn. People just love her. But yeah, That is Harley Quinn, and now with the whole squad met up, we can continue this game. This ended up really annoying me. They all meet up and everything's great, and then it comes up with choose a squad member. I just wanted to look at what King Shark did. So by pressing number 2, for some strange reason, just instantly locked them in. I didn't have a choice in this. It just did it, and I don't understand why. Now, I'm gonna do a little spoiler here because this really pisses me off. We're in the tutorial of the game so far. One, it teases the end game without telling you it teases the end game, which is interesting to me, and I do like that while it's teaching you the game. But the thing it does is that you do this, you do the tutorial, you do the tease for the end game, where you kill all the enemies in the area and try and hold out for as long as you can, and then it randomly goes, you've got to get out of there, it's time to leave, and you go to leave. And then, as you're moving away, the Brainiac fucking ship goes, and it's like, beans, and it's ready to give you them, right? And then all of a sudden, it goes, 7 days earlier, my brother in Christ, they don't come back here. I've done, the game. I'm just grinding endgame now. They never come back here. This was pointless. Unless they randomly end up there in Season 2, which I don't see why we would be doing this. I don't get it. This is dumb. Why tease something that just didn't happen? Why? Who ay, dude. Okay, so just hear me out here. After the tutorial, we're going to go back 7 days to Arkham Asylum, where the team we've just played as and met, we meet again 7 days earlier. For some reason, we have to meet them and learn their quirks again, even though I've just met them and learnt their quirks already. Interesting move. We go to Arkham Asylum, they all get rounded up, strapped to gurneys, some old woman yells some stuff about people being on her lawn, and then leaves a stick on a table. Then everyone gets released out of their gurneys with a funny a comical moment where everyone stabs bombs into each other's necks, which is such a Arkham Asylum thing, I guess. Fuck if I know. And yeah, they all now have bombs in their head. Welcome to Task Force X, baby. So after that, they fall asleep, wake up on a train. King Shark is like, hey, I can stop this train. Pulls the brake, breaks the brake. Not supposed to do that, because he's just the beast of all beasts. Too much strength. With that, the train crashes. With the crash, they get off, and we actually get to play some game. While actually being able to play the game, eventually we'll end up in the Hall of Justice, I think it is, for the Justice League. It sounds like it should be called the Hall of Justice, but it's the museum before the Hall of Justice. Is this how the Justice League actually works? They have a museum right outside their home base? I feel like this is a weird thing. No? Is that not weird to anyone else but me? There's no way that you just have your base and a museum right outside your base, so every time you come out, people see you come out. I don't know, that just seems weird to me. This is wild. They all get abilities from this bulletless proof glass. For some reason, they just have all these cool things behind just regular glass, not even bulletproof. I get Metropolis is a city of a future, and it's not Arkham or Gotham, so it's not riddled with crime or anything, but if someone broke in and just shot that and took stuff, that's a problem. These villains take stuff, that's a problem. The whole beginning of this game just really annoys me, and I it's all small things as well. This, for example, you exit the hall, you get outside, and you see the damage Metropolis has happened, and the old woman that's running the task force goes, you're the first people to make it in alive. There was no resistance. Zilch, zero, mono, no one came to stop us. How has anyone struggled to get in? I get, we made it harder, we crashed the train, and somehow we still found a way easier in than apparently everyone else who died getting in. I don't understand. It's confusing. I want to take this moment that as leading up to this point, the game was running jittery but fine. Now it's dead. It is dead in the water, struggling to surface 30 FPS at some moments. I don't have a great PC. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. It's not terrible. It's an RTX 3060 Ti and a 12th gen Intel Core i5. It's not terrible. It's not great though. I should run this game on the lowest settings. Back in my day, right, as a 25-year-old man, back in my day, we used to be able to run games on low with a budget computer. I think mine's considered budget. I don't understand why it runs so bad. I should be able to get a solid, like, 50 to 60 FPS while playing the game on low. It doesn't look that nice, right? It's not gonna break any fucking barricades on, like, graphical greatness. I don't understand why it runs so bad. I keep checking in every now and again to see if there's a performance update, but there isn't. So the game just runs really bad for me. Those are my specs, so, you know, take that as a grain of salt if you're going to play this game on the PC, because it doesn't run very well. After doing all the crazy stuff like moving it to a new SSD, so uninstalling and reinstalling the game completely, updating drivers, unupdating drivers to re-update drivers, trying all this fucking fancy-dancy stuff just to try and see if the game will run any better, eventually we get back into game, have the stupid fucking Captain Boomerang skin on, and we're ready to move into actual gameplay. We've done the tutorial, we've watched the cutscenes, it's time to actually play the game. And it breaks. The first actual, like, out-of-tutorial combat breaks for me instantly, without fail. None of the enemies will move or do anything. They won't look at me. They won't give me a, hi, how are you? How's your day going? Wonderful weather we're having. They won't do anything. Like, without fail, I break every single game I play, just without fail, dude. I don't know what I do. I don't know if it's me, if it's the way I play games, if it's something like I was just born this way. I just break them, and I don't know how to stop. I need to be hired in, like, quality assurance. Maybe games would actually come out functioning for once. Jesus, man. After killing all the enemies that were super duper hard to kill and gave us the biggest fight of our life, we get captured by Green Lantern. Green Lantern is our first introduction to the great and mighty Justice League, and he sends us on, like, a roller coaster ride. It's really weird. The way they do the movement and stuff, it, like, literally reminds me of, like, those rides that you'll see, I think, like, America-wise, you'll see them at, like, Universal and, like, Disneyland and stuff, but, like, some local theme parks and, like, museums have them here, where, like, instead of, like, going on an actual ride, you sit in, like, the seats, and then, like, it starts tilting you side to side and stuff. It's like you go, like, down, like, through space or something, and, like, on a projector screen, like, on a screen and stuff. And that's what this is like. Like, if I had to describe what the Green Lantern beaming us around town was like, it's like one of those rides where you sit in front of the screen on the seat, and, like, the seat, like, the whole, like, ship moves and stuff as you're flying through space, and that's what it reminds me of. And it's a really weird feeling that I like. It's really hard to describe it, but it's such a strange feeling to experience it in a game. What is he showing us, though? Brainiac's taking over Metropolis, he's got a big ship, and he's about to destroy the whole world. He's ready to make a second world, terraforming our one. But it also shows this, where the citizens of Metropolis are being turned into these creatures that we're just mindlessly murdering. And the point really is never brought up again. It's brought up once, and when it gets brought up again, I will point it out. But when it does get brought up again, the characters don't make a joke about it. No one comments about it. It gets said, and everyone just leaves it there. It's just such a weird thing. They don't make a comment on, like, oh wow, maybe we should try and turn them back, and someone's like, it's not main priority, or like, it's not part of Task Force X, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, no one ever mentions this again. It's just such a weird thing. It, like, so far, if you, like, follow the beginning of the game, it feels like the stuff that was brought up just doesn't ever get followed up on, like, ever, which is always weird to me. Again, they have multiple seasons to bring in, like, stuff, but this one just seems like it's never gonna happen again. Like, it's just some side thing that they bring up on the side that means nothing. But in the grand scheme of things, it's fucked up. You literally are just murdering Metropolis civilians, and no one bats an eyelid about it. It's just so strange. Flash shows up, unbrainiaced. We've got Flash on our side, probably one of the strongest Justice League members. That should be a good sign, right? And without wasting any time, they get into duking, and it's time for us to get gaming. Now that we've actually got some missions going, what is the gameplay like? Gameplay's fine. I don't really have a complaint. The guns are good, and the movement is, fun and keeps the game fresh and on its feet for me, personally. It's not going to change any systems. It's not going to fucking, rework the whole gaming industry into changing how looter shooters are made. It's a very basic, run-of-the-mill looter shooter. It just has movement that makes it more interesting for me. A la Anthem. Anthem wasn't a very good game. It had its problems, but the gunplay and the mobility base of the game was really well made for me, and this kind of has remnants of that, being able to glide through the city and just be able to use that momentum. And it's not boots on the ground combat. It is very much mobility based combat, and being able to travel through Metropolis with said mobility is just a nice change up. That being said, it doesn't really do a lot for the missions. Like for this, it does a lot because it's just go from one part of the city to the other to try and find Flash, killing enemies along the way, which is fine. That uses the mobility greatly, but as we go on, these missions become less and less, potent, and it becomes more of the standard mission, which we will get to later. This is the most offensive part to me. Assuming this is the first mission and it's all open, letting you fully explore Metropolis, I tried to kill every set of enemies on the way there, just to see what the benefits would be, if I would get more loot, if I'd get more XP, more anything like that. You get a little bit of extra XP for killing enemies, you get the XP that they drop, but it's not a lot, and it's not going to break the bank on XP grinds or anything like that. And all loot is relegated pretty much to the end of missions. None of the good loot drops from enemies, barely any loot drops from enemies if it ever does, so you're left in a kind of spiral of why does the open world exist? It doesn't even give drops in mission, so everything that's out there is kind of pointless. It gains a slight point later on, and we'll get to that when we get to that. And then there's the Riddler stuff that doesn't need to be in the game, so it doesn't really make sense for there being a completely open world to tank my game performance. If anything, I'd rather my game ran well and have it be a mission select screen, let me select my missions that I need to do, and kind of, shove me along a set path, than this, where there's an open world, and yes, it's fun to explore, but then becomes tedious of me going, wow, I am fucking thousands of kilometers away from where I'm supposed to be. Time to just swing there and ignore everything upon me that is going towards there. Enemies, no point. Rooftop defenses, not even a single fucking reason to destroy this thing. Just keep going to your mission. And that just, it makes it so pointless having an open world, and it's very much saddening to me that, there's no loot, no XP, no nothing. It's just kind of pointless being out there. After 15 to 20 minutes about running around Metropolis like a headless chicken, watching the Flash and the Green Lantern duke it out over which Team Justice League's the best Team Justice League, Team Brainiac or Team Justice, we eventually come to a rooftop where there's blood on the floor. Who's winning the fight, you may be asking? Well, Captain Boomerang has your answer. The all-intelligent Aussie figures out that Flash is vibrating himself so quickly he's invisible, and just stomps on his chest to show him, which is a dumb move because now, we've just shown the Green Lantern where Flash is. He's not turned yet, so that it's not very fucking helpful for us. Go figure. And then we've got to defend them. And if you haven't noticed, here's your recycle of gameplay. Kill enemies within area, defend point within area, kill enemies to protect something in area, escort mission every now and again. That is your gameplay cycle. That is your gameplay loop. You're not going to get any mission different. There is one different type of mission, which is go collect civilians, which revolves around you having to clear out a certain number of enemies to make civilians spawn. So again, it just turns into killing enemies. The whole generic basis of every mission is kill enemies. So without further ado, we clear out all the enemies trying to take Flash. After realizing we are sitting ducks outside, it's time for our characters to head inside to bring Flash into a safe location. This inside turns out to be a Batman museum. This is where we meet Batman. But before we meet Batman, Boomerang has to cut off Flash's finger because he's a fucking idiot. Accidentally using his knife Boomerang and slicing a finger off, they realize he made a boo-boo. I don't know why you would let Boomerang alone with any character, never mind the Flash. After that, we get our introduction to Batman. Carly's like, don't worry, Batman won't kill anyone, and proceeds to kill 2 people, giving us the uh-oh, we're in trouble vibes, and it's time to progress through the Bat Museum. Now, the Batman Museum makes it very clear to you that you can't wiggle your finger and be like, well, maybe it's not part of the Arkham series, because it gives you a tour through the Arkham games, pretty much, like, spit for spit, tat for tat, walk through the Arkham story. So it's in the Arkham universe, and there's no way to wiggle yourself out of it. The game makes it very clear to you right in this one section, this is the Arkham Batman, you fool. Going through this is the first of 2 sections of the game that requires 4 people. And by requires 4 people, I mean if you play it single player, you have to painstakingly walk 4 separate characters through this area while they get picked off one by Batman, where if you play this with 4 players, you all move simultaneously, getting picked one by one off by Batman, but it happens quicker because the characters are moving more quickly through the area. For example, you move the character you're playing to a certain area and then he gets got, then it'll be like, oh no, the other character needs to move to the next area, and so on and so forth. And I think from what I've watched, if you do it in co-op, all the characters get to move at their own like pace, so you can all move towards the section you're supposed to be at, meaning it goes faster in 4-player than it does in 1. This is one of only 2 times this actually happens within the game, but you can kind of see that it was definitely made for a 4-player experience from this one moment, and then the next moment that pops up very later on in the game that generally does make me wish I was playing with 4 people with how long that one takes. This one doesn't take too long, and it's very quickly easy to get caught by the Batman because he's, well, the fucking Batman. Batman decides he's sick of this shit and decides to put a cap in your ass. It's luckily that Flash is still alive and awake after being beaten mercifully and having his finger chopped off, the poor lad, to just barely knock the bullet out the way. And then he gets beaten for his troubles, and Batman leaves us. At this point, we can roam around the museum and see the Arkham storyline, like I said earlier, or just make our way to the main door to get introduced to Hack. Hack is the hacker character of this game. She will give us abilities and whatnot in the hacking field. She'll take down doors and open up other doors and, you know, services and whatnot, and give us missions to help further our team into other avenues of the game. But mostly she just uses this one time to open this door, and I think she's used one more time in the story and kind of gets sat there on the sides to not do anything story-wise. The usual. With that all being said and done, it's back to the Justice League's Hall of Justice, which I think is what it's actually called. I'm pretty sure that is what it is. Leagues of Justice. No, the Justice League's Hall of Justice. I can't say words, so yeah, sure. Main hub of the game to find out how we're going to progress this story any further. Making our way inside the museum part of the Justice League, we find out that Boomerang has snatched Flash's thumb that he cut off accidentally, and they used that to get into the inner part, or the inner sanctum, if you will, which way we can set up main base and get the show on the road. Wonder Woman shows up inside the sanctum and kicks our ass and gets us to explain why we're here, as well as the grumpy old woman from earlier comes in to tell her that we're taking over this show. Your Justice League is a band of naughty boys and they need to be shown justice themselves. With that, we get to meet Hack, which was the woman that helped us out before. She is some young woman that's strapped to a chair with all this neurological stuff attached to her brain and lets her do all the web surfing and stuff. I'm not gonna act like I understand what's happening here. It's like, I guess her conscious is like uploaded to like the web, or like I don't know. I really don't know what's happening here. I just know that that's the person that is the big like glitchy thing that like hacks stuff for us. I don't get how it all works though. I couldn't tell you. With that, they get us out of our Arkham gear and into some like actual normal looking stuff. Not the pre-order bonus goofy gear, but like their more modern day style clothing. Harley gets a bit of a makeover instead of wearing her weird suit that I never really liked. As well as in this game it looks kind of ugly, so I don't blame her for not wearing it. And we get to finally play the video game once again. First objective, now we've got cool clothes. Find Penguin. Penguin located, he's a bit of a dick. And now, once again, shockingly, we have to, say it with me now, defend the point while defeating enemies. And yeah, that's what we do. We do that. I don't know if the good old guy summoned them in somehow, or Brainiac just kind of spotted us from his ship and was like, burns, and sent them down. Not a clue. Whatever he did, they're here. We fight them. We get inside. We inject the bomb into fucking Penguin's stupid fat head, and we're moving on to the next objective. Next objective, time is money. Money is power, and we've got to move. Colonel, Lieutenant, or Commander Flag, I can't remember what he goes by, has told us we've got missions to do for him, or he'll blow our brains out. With this, we've got missions to do because I like my brains intact. With that being said, is a new mission type we've not done before yet, which is destroy the incubators. How this one works is that the incubators have got a shield around them that is powered by batteries. Destroying the batteries will get rid of the shield, which will allow you to destroy the incubator, which will finish the mission. Easy sauce, not a hard task. As the game progresses, they add more incubators and more batteries, and as the game progresses even more, they make the batteries regen over time. But as it stands, it's just a simple and easy quest of destroy the batteries, get to the incubator, destroy the incubator, end the mission. With the end of this mission, we finally get a taste of loot and an end mission screen, and the legendary gun I was talking about earlier that is literally given to you on the first actual lootable mission. And everyone got one. So it's not even just a me thing. Like I said before, everyone got one, kind of dampens the loot experience, but it's a legendary shotgun, so I'm not going to complain about it too much. And, there's a lot of game here. We got a lot of ground to cover. Let's get back to mission. The game now decides it's time to teach you about the mini-map, how we're going to be able to select main quests and side quests. And spoiler alert, I did every side quest I could possibly do in the game until I hit endgame. Every single mission leading up to endgame, I did. Just because I wanted to get the full experience of the game, and you're going to join me for that ride, because you're fucking stupid and insane like me. Let's do this. Instantly leaving the map tells me that we've unlocked snipers. Snipers are a new enemy type, and they snipe you from a distance. Counter-shotting them lets you get close to them. If you don't, they disappear and go to a different ledge, or you can just shoot them from a distance and kill them. Either way's a good one, to be honest. After selecting the hardest mission and going and activating it by selecting this little thing on the floor, we get our objective. And you wouldn't believe what it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Get ready to kill all the enemies on screen. Yeah! But I wasn't prepared for this. No. You see, leading up to this point, all the kill the enemy missions have been simple, easy, non-threatening, nonchalant moments within this video game. Now, for some reason, everyone's killing me in one hit, and I didn't read the tooltip on snipers, and the snipers are giving me a bit of an issue. I sped this up because it went on for a hot minute of me chasing snipers around buildings, not understanding why they keep TPing away from me, and then finally figuring that out and killing them. But mostly, I went down to my last revive. It took me 2 attempts before this to even get this mission done, which is just foul. Like, I want to throw up in my mouth that I failed this so many times. Like, the game's not hard. This mission was just really difficult for some reason. Is this because it was a higher level mission than I was supposed to be at, and I just didn't really care about my moments in life? But eventually we do get it done, and now we can hear communications between enemy chit-chat. This just allows me to hear Batman fucking scold me every 5 minutes now about how I'm playing the game poorly, how he's keeping a watchful eye on me, and how the Green Lantern, Batman, and Flash can now start fucking shit-talking me on the radio, which is awesome. Traversal attacks are next on the board of the things this game wants to teach me. Traversal attacks are just an attack that you use after you kill so many enemies or deal damage to them with bullets. Eventually you get to use them. Some characters are pretty decent. Harley's is by far my favorite. Some people, like, I don't like boomerangs. It is just a 7-sided strike pretty much in front of where you're standing. Not a very good traversal move, if you ask me. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I'm not a big fan of some of them. I'm a big fan of other of them. Like I said, Harley's is great. Boomerang ain't too great for me. But that's what a traversal attack is. And we're moving on to the next thing, because you don't need to sit here and see me kill enemies. You're going to see me do enough of that in the later half of the video. Let's skip it. Psyched up missions are next. Psyched up missions, as you can see on screen with the little shark fin, means that one character for a normal mission gets to have a bonus. It's a bonus XP and damage. I think this is for endgame stuff, like mostly, where you can level up characters faster and keep the whole roster at a max level at some point if you play the game long enough without having to force yourself through the lower difficulties, lower XP gains and stuff, and like interrupt the gameplay flow of looting. This lets you just do all the stuff you're currently doing, but while also progressing every other character in the game. I think that's the general gist of these. I don't know how they work in co-op though, because it's weird. This one, by the way, gives us a new mission type where it's kill the enemies, shockingly, and D will give charges, and then you just go and put the charges away once you've got them, and they'll send a nuke or something, and it explodes, and then you get out of the safe zone and do it again. That's the gist of this mission type. But I just don't get how psyched up works in multiplayer co-op. Like, does everyone get an XP bonus? Does everyone get a damage bonus? Does the one character get it? So that means when you're playing with a friend, one friend is always going to be ahead of the others and slowly but steadily be caught up upon when more psyched up quests reveal themselves. But one person is normally always going to be behind on XP then, no matter what. It is a weird system. I'm going to go with it doesn't appear in co-op games. That's the only answer I really have to that. And yeah, it kind of crusts my barnacles, so I don't really understand how that would work in co-op. Unless everyone got the XP bonus and he just got the damage bonus, maybe. I just don't understand how it would work. Riddler clues. I mentioned these earlier, but now we finally got them. I'm stupid. I couldn't figure this one out, and I didn't figure many out. I just don't understand clues. I'm really bad at interpreting information. I thought they were on about Batman. I was really confused. I don't remember what it says. Like a hero looms over Metropolis streets, and I was like, oh, the Batman statue. No, that meant the big looming face of Doom above us, the big Brainiac ship. It took me a while to figure that out. I'm not gonna be around the bush. The one thing I did like about Riddler, though, was his race courses. He gives you a race course, not like Batman's driving a vehicle race courses, but you use the character that it recommends you to use. You can do them with any, but it's easier to do with one it's recommended for because it's made for them. To use their mobility to get through the rings at the fastest time. It's like Superman 64, but if the rings were actually, you know, a good part of the game, instead of being the main part of the game and shitty. The main part of the game sucks here, but the ring racing's cool. There's that. We reverse Superman 64. That's huge. Just to throw this in the video somewhere, because I'm just that guy. I freestyled the first one on the first go. Don't care if it's easy or not. I did that. No one can take that away from me. Go fuck yourself. Back to the main mission at hand. Need to stop fucking around. This video ain't gonna finish itself with... We're 31 minutes into this, and I've just realized how little progress we've made through getting through the game. Oh boy. The cutscene plays out. Frag grenades are gained by the team for beating up a Green Lantern paper mache thing that I don't know what it is. Wonder Woman gives me the whole knuckle buckle get out of my city routine. And then, yeah, we knock on her, because Green Lantern's a scary guy. And then, you wouldn't believe what the mission objective is. We gotta clear the enemies out before we can leave. The only difference between this and any other ordinary level where we kill the bad guys is that it's trying to teach us how to use grenades, because Lord knows I've never been taught how to use a grenade in a video game before. Granted, this one's teaching you to destroy armor with it, so you could argue there's a bit of a switch up there, but you gotta use it to destroy their armor, kill them with the gun, and then move on. Eventually, when all the enemies are dead, you can go to a door that you could have left at any point during this fight, so I don't know why we had to wait to kill everyone. Reasons, I guess, and we're back in Metropolis doing our Metropolis deeds once again. Welcome to the next mission type we will be doing. This is the Capture the Humans in the Pokeballs mission that sucks dick. I know I've shit on these missions for being the same copy-paste loop of doing something, but to do it must kill all enemies in the process to get it done. Gotta kill all the enemies around the batteries to destroy it so that you can get rid of the incubators. Gotta kill all the enemies in the area just because you gotta kill them. Gotta kill all the enemies to unactivate lockdowns. Kill all the enemies so that the story progresses. Whatever the fuck it may be, most missions surface around kill all the enemies. Kill enough enemies for charges. Kill enough enemies for this. That's what it revolves around. This one tries to change it up where now you're going to rescue civilians by killing enemies again. Kind of the same premise, but hold with me. You only have to kill about like a handful of enemies to start getting the humans to spawn in, and then you can ignore them completely, go capture the humans and take them to the bus, and jobs are good. And the mission sucks. It's boring. It's so mind-numbingly boring. Killing the enemies is already like a mind-numbing task because they don't really put up much of a fight, and it's very rarely going to be difficult, and when it is difficult, it can be fun, and when you have to actually think about your placements, it can be enjoyable, and then eventually when you're overpowered to the point you're doing cool damage and having all these cool effects go off, it's again fun. But right now, I got no effects, no damage, and the enemies are just kind of meh. It's irritating, and this mission gets worse when they start adding affixes to it, where it's like, can only be killed by critical hits, or can only be killed by like shield harvests and stuff. These missions absolutely undeniably piss me off. Anytime I get a save the scientist, or save the army, or save the human, save the civilian mission, I fucking hate it. This mission is by far the worst one, and it's annoying to say that because it's one of the only 2 missions in this game that try somewhat change up the pace of the game, and it does it poorly, man. Why can we not get good things, dude? Fuck. Finishing that mission will net us a cutscene that shows us the Gizmo, which is practically a dwarf or a gnome. I'm putting him more in the gnome category because he just kind of looks like a gnome. He kind of looks like one of my WoW characters I would make, so I'm going to pat him off as a gnome. This guy creates cars. There you go. Jobs are good, and I saved you a cutscene. The game tries to teach you about looting arts next, and I'm just going to come straight out with this. It didn't work. It didn't work. This one mission is the only time looting arts worked. After that, it's like, it's in enemies. You kill all the enemies in the area, and the radar's like, it's here somewhere, just keep looking. My brother in Christ, I have murdered the whole nation. There's no one left. Not a single man left. Why is the radar still pointing me here? There's not a Lutenaut, there's not an enemy, there's not a bird, there's not a plane, there's not a fucking robot, tank, fucking anything here, and it didn't work, dude. So you won't be seeing Lutenauts in the rest of this video. I do not care. Also, doing this mission for Hack gives you contracts. Contracts are a little side part of the game. They give you resources, gold, XP, and all that good stuff for doing menial things like killing 7 brutes, taking down 2 tanks, killing 7 falafel waffles, you know, just anything like that, like two like swift attacks, break shields, all that fun stuff. And those will give you contracts. You take the contracts, you do them, you get XP, you get gold, you get resources, you get like all that fun stuff, and then you know, you just take more contracts. It's a never-ending cycle of loops, pretty much. This is where the game is the funnest, when you have access to the cars. See, Gizmo gives you cars, and the more Gizmo missions you do, I think the better the cars become. But overall, the cars are just the best part of the game. They're just so much fun to use. They control brilliantly. I'm never struggling to control my car that's floating in air or anything like that. The only downside is that there's a health bar that depletes automatically as you're in it, not as you get hit. So eventually you got to jump out of it. The upside to that is that once you jump out of it, it's a living torpedo that will fly itself towards the closest enemies and blow up. So, you know, each to their own, bonuses and negatives. This is the best the game does at bringing, like, a difference to the game, trying to spice things up. That isn't just catch the human in ball. This is the second go at changing the gameplay up, and this one succeeds, in my opinion. It just makes a mission go quick. It's super fun to do. You're literally flying a car with bombs and machine guns on it, and you literally just kill everything that's around you, in front of you, and the side of you. It's the best the mission can be. Normally they get their own mission, but the first time you do this, it's a mission where you've got to destroy the batteries to destroy the incubators. For some reason they bundled these two together, but like going forward, if you see these missions, they're normally there so that you can get they get bundled with the charge mission instead, where it's like jump in the car, kill as many enemies as you can. As soon as you got enough charges, get to the safe zone. That's when they get bundled in with next. But for some reason, the first time they're bundled with an incubator mission, which I just don't understand why. Another Riddler racetrack absolutely dominated by the boy. And we can move on to learning about Suicide Strikes. Suicide Strikes is a one strike on an enemy that normally kills it, does a lot of damage, gives you armor and ammo from the hit. I go try it out. It's alright. There's a cool little animation to it. And we move on. Remember earlier in this video where I stated that the mission where you get the civilians back to the bus is the worst mission ever? And when they add effects to that mission, it gets really bad. Here we are, where we've got to kill these blobs on the floor to get damage boost, stacking up to 10. Once we've stacked up to 10, we can kill the enemies really easily, but we've got to keep stacking it, because you see, it's a timed buff. Without running the timer out, we'll do no damage to the enemies. So we've got to consistently kill the small things on the floor, the little blobs, to make sure we have damage boost, keep stacking the damage boost so that we can kill the enemies, so that we can get the humans to spawn. Once the humans are spawned, we go kill more of the blobs to make sure we have more of the damage boost, to make sure we can kill the enemies at the human, so that we can go get the human out to take him back to the bus. Why are we adding extra steps to a mission that already fucking sucks, dude? Also, they added an extra human to bring back, so that's fun. That's great. I like that. Yeah, there's not much to say. It's the same mission that we did for the bus earlier, but now they just added an extra step that makes it more irritating. Like, there's no other way to say that. Anytime they add extra steps to make this mission more hell on earth, the developers just laugh at me. They just get a little fucking hoo, and they move on in their lives while I sit here and suffer. Fuck this mission, dude. After crying myself to sleep at night, eventually we do the mission. I get a legendary shotgun for my efforts. Let's go, team. And we can move on to the next mission, story, beat, whatever the fuck is after this. I just don't want to remember this anymore. Next up on the chopping block is Gizmo's Vehicle Galore. This is another support squad mission. This is ones I like. I like Gizmo's missions, so while we're here, we might as well talk about squad missions as a whole. Support squad missions is anything from Gizmo to two characters we're going to get later on, to Penguin, to Hack. All these people will give you missions. These missions will further your efforts into getting stuff that will help you on in the game. For example, leveling up Penguin will let you reroll all the stats on a weapon. Leveling up Hack gets you more and more contract slots. I don't know what the fuck leveling up Gizmo does, so on and so forth. They all increase your help within the game. Doing these makes your life easier. I generally did all of them, and then all the way up to the end of the game, and then they hit you all at once with a load of them, and I haven't done them yet. But Gizmos is pretty fun. Like I said before, you jump in the car, you fly around, you blow shit up, and then you get back into the safety zone, and then repeat, get all the charges, blow shit up, get into the safety zone, rinse and repeat until the mission's done. It's simple like every other mission, it's just fun. That's it, it's just fun. So, just to throw this out there, I lost the footage to this part for some reason. I don't know why, I don't know where it went, it's just gone. So, I've got clips from Game Clips. Their YouTube channel is in the link in the description down below with the video I got it from if you want to watch 3 hours of the Justice League. There's no way there's that many cutscenes. That's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, cutscene starts up. Well, it's midway at this point. Fuck knows. Pretty much, we've come here to get rid of the bombs in our head. He's like, I can do it. The old woman's like, no, you can't. Shoots him in the leg. Lex is like, I'm Lex Luthor, bitch. Blows his head up. She's covered in blood. She's yelling and screaming, hitting shit. Harley's like, look at this, boys. I found an Ivy. And now we're off to look for Poison Ivy. There you go. And this is the start and the descent of a Harley Quinn main. You see, seeming it's going to see Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, and Poison Ivy go back a mile or two. It makes sense that she gets psyched up for this mission. Bonus XP, bonus damage. I'm all there for that. I put the skin on that everyone's been hating on because, yeah, it doesn't look very good. And we move on from that. Just like the Flash, we got to track down Poison Ivy using the tracker, just moving in the direction when it's green and changing direction when it's red or orange. Pretty much is the gist of how to find her. Once you find her, you'll find a plant on the ground, not her, and we'll have a big twist. But before the big twist can be revealed, we must do a support squad mission first. I didn't even mean to do this. This was all by accident, kind of wandered on it. This wasn't part of the regularly scheduled programming or anything. It just kind of happened. And it's one of the annoying ones as well, where it's only done by shield harvesting. And it's not even like it's one of the ones that I can, like, you know, shake my fist at and be like, oh, it's really annoying. It's just annoying because it's just kill all the enemy. I know, right? Shocker. The game's asking me to kill all the enemies again. Who would have thunk it? Once you do that, you unlock an extra slot for a contract, and we can move on to the Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy debacle. Getting to the plant will start the cutscene like I said earlier, and you find out the big twist is that Poison Ivy's a kid. She's done the Groot, I guess, if you want to, like, try and list it against something else superhero related. Apparently, spoiler alert, she died in one of the Arkham games, and now she's a kid. And now we gotta do a mission, which is, you wouldn't believe it, kill all the enemies. I can't keep saying this, dude. You gotta kill all the enemies that evade the plant. Once they're all dead, the plant will go back to normal and they'll attack a different plant. You got main plant, you got plant A, and then you got plant B. Normally, there is like an effect you can make the plant do to make your life a bit more simpler and easier. Or when they start adding status effects to these things and it's like only killed while like electrocuted, you gotta use the plants. Like it's just more kill everything. There's only so many times I can describe the method I use to kill all the enemies. But doing this will then activate a cutscene after you get the plant all the way plantified, I guess. Cutscene will activate. Boomerang stabs her in the head in secrecy, so she's got a bomb in her head now, just like the rest of us good old guys, and we can go back to doing what we do best, randomly wandering Metropolis like an idiot, trying to find out what my next objective is. Welcome to hack style missions. This is a main mission, but this is the first introduction you will get of a hack mission. The main problem I have with this mission in its entirety is the way it works. How it works is very simple. Just like every other mission in this godforsaken game, you just kill all the enemies. But with a catch. She is hacking. There are two percentages, yours and theirs. Yours goes up when she's hacking. Theirs goes up when she gets taken over by the amount of enemies that have entered the area. You gotta kill them all. And like, this means anywhere from them all, or being able to leave a few snipers alive, to having to kill the brute but being able to leave everyone else alive. The rules are flimsy and flip-floppy at best. And because it's not one of those ones where it's kill all the enemies, but kill enough enemies they pick for you that have to be killed, it starts to deteriorate very quickly into annoyance, where you're like, have I killed all the enemies? Like, I've killed them all that I can see. One must be straggling somewhere because they're still invading and taking away percentage. It's just annoying, dude. It's one of the middle of the road ones. The best kind of missions are the ones where it's just kill as many enemies as you can, or meet a number that isn't predetermined. For example, some of the missions are like, kill all the enemies, and there is exactly 15 enemies for you to kill. And it becomes an annoyance when you're down to the last two and you can't fucking see them. But when it's like, get as many charges as you want, and it just spawns in a shit ton of enemies and continues to spawn them in until the charges are met, that's a top tier mission. Ones where it's kill all the enemies to a set number, and the godforsaken civilian ones, bottom tier. This is middle tier missionary. It's not breaking my back in terms of annoyance, but it still irritates me enough that I have to make a long explanation on why I don't like it. Next mission on the chopping block is another godforsaken, terrible, stupid ass, don't want to do it, civilian rescue. We're doing it because Poison Ivy wants to use test subjects or something, and she started using it against the team of people trying to save the world. For some reason, she's frozen people. We're doing this mission to unlock status effects on our gear, pretty much. And, yeah, it's just another one of these missions. I'm not going to go over why I hate these again. We're just going to skip straight to the end. I got a crappy bit of loot. Nothing much really happens. And we're thrown back into Metropolis to figure out what the fuck I'm doing next. I can't tell you what's different here. I don't know if it's the fact I'm playing Harley Quinn or what, but this mission where I go to do these two batteries is all of a sudden where everything clicks together, and I just start enjoying myself. Stop focusing on the mission at hand and just start killing things. You could say my brain finally rotted. It's a good enough argument. I could have finally started enjoying the game. I don't think the game just randomly got good all of a sudden. I think it has a portion of everything. I think I started to get weapons that I liked. I think I started to get a character that I enjoyed playing. Harley Quinn was much more funner to interact with than Boomerang. As well as, I think my brain was just kind of starting to rot slowly at this point and become used to the mundane activities of Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. So everything kind of like parlayed into one super brew to let me ingest enjoyment. That being said, I enjoy myself now, so less complaining from here on out. Until you get to save the civilian mission, and then I'm going to complain a bit, but until we get there, let's enjoy the fun. Slaying enemies and destroying batteries, opening up the old incubator, destroying the incubator to get the next mission on the move. Next up, for Task Force X is another hack mission, only being able to deal damage with Shield Harvest with a minigun. That makes quick work of it, just point it at the feet and go brrrr, and they eventually lose all feeling in their feet and let me Soul Harvest their shields, and we can get through this pretty quickly. Not much left to say. It doesn't take a lot of effort to defend the fucking point. I'm just defending the point. Just here to brag about my other 3-star race win, because I am just that guy. Another 3-star Riddler racer on the track. Don't mind me, just kind of the goat. When I thought happiness was in my grasp, I remembered that there's a fucking effect in this game that meant you could only damage people with fucking frag grenades. You can only hold 3 of them. You then have to run around and tackle people and break people's stances and melee it just to get more grenades. Why is this an option? Why do I have to fucking do this, dude? You honestly wouldn't mind doing it, but it's so boring and just... I'm just waiting for people to group up, throw a grenade at him. I've run out, run around and look for someone to hit. It's a sniper. Enjoy trying to frag grenade that fucker while he's trying to snipe you from miles away. Who fucking programmed this one? Who sat there in the office and was like, Jared, come over here. You're gonna really love this one. This one's gonna really make you break a controller. Now, like, while I'm already mad, let me just go off on this real quick. Legendary effects on weapons are supposed to be fun, interesting, and unique ways of playing the game that make you really want to do something, make you want to go out your way to get them, not just fucking hinder you in one half and kind of do something in the other. You have a 100% critical rate chance while shooting brutes but can't do anything against grunts, or the other way around depending which weapon you get. It's not that's not fun. It's not a good legendary effect. It's dumb. It's all dumb, dude. Alright, going back to the Justices League's inner sanctum within the Halls of Justice, within the Museum of Justice. There's not enough justice in this world to justify how many times I just said justice. You meet Penguin and Poison Ivy. These two are chatting it off, having best bud moments, pushing Penguin off the platform. Harley laughs, so I will laugh with her. Ha ha. With that being said, why are we here? We're here to learn about status effects. Status effects are stuff that are going to go on grenades, weapons, and all sorts like that. And the primary focus is that they're supposed to be negative and positive to these things, which makes sense. I like that. It's an interesting way to balance things out. For example, when you use a frozen status effect, freeze all the enemies around you, but it also nullifies the fact that you can't get critical hits or ammo from enemies that are frozen. Makes sense, seems fair, all is good and fun in the world. With that, you get a weapon that is got the effect on, and we can move on. Now, on the surface, these care packages seem like an interesting idea. You kill the care packages, it drops the humans, they get to safety, it drops a lot of stuff that you can collect on the floor, and you know, these are resources, gold, and all that good stuff, and then you can move on with your life, down and a couple others, and everything's happy. It's more the fact that they tried to bulk it in with a daily for some reason. Like, I don't really get it. The more care packages you down on the daily, the higher your reputation with the care package people get, and the more rewards you get daily from them or something. I don't get it why they tried to make it a daily thing, but hey, they did. And now, we're randomly gonna just learn how to use the Affliction Strike. I don't know why the game feels the need to have to, like, hold my hand every time we get a new effect added to the squad, but fuck it, I guess. It's easier to test it out now than on the field. I don't know why. But you just hold the melee down, and you'll do an Affliction Strike. And there you go. Job's a good one. You don't need to see the rest of this. Next part of my to-do list is to find Lex Luthor. How am I going to do that? Like I found every other fucking idiot in this game. Follow the tracker until I fucking swing my way towards him, because God knows I'm very bad at following this tracker. Eventually, we'll make our way to a rooftop. Someone, like an idiot, will touch a box, which means someone else will touch a box, which means someone else will touch a box, and Harley Quinn will touch an ass. As you do. Lex Luthor looking at me with his bald fucking head like I'm an idiot. Thanks, Lex. Eventually, Flash shows up and shows him what's what, who's who. He's not the Lexi Luthor he thinks he is. Straight out of the fucking suit, he rips him. Then the Flash does some evil villain monologuing bollocks, and then he's like, boss fight! Now, I don't want to act like an idiot, but I was an idiot. You see, I forgot to upgrade my shields. As you can see in this one, I had 3 goes on this boss. 3 long attempts, because it took a while to dwindle and dwindle. The first 2 attempts had this shield, and the 3rd attempt had this shield. You see the difference? It's a big difference. I'm going to be honest, I don't mind the fight. I think it's pretty good. It's a decent boss fight. Very good for a first fight. Sets you up for what you're going to be doing for the rest of the game. I like it. The game's been training me for this part of the game anyway. Kill all the enemies as Flash taunts you like a dick, and then use the things you get from the enemies to throw at the boss's legs. Then it will weaken the shield. You can shoot its leg off. Do this 4 times with each health bar increasing in how many charges you need to throw, but you can only carry so many, so you kill the enemies, go throw it in, and then repeat that until it breaks. Then you shoot his leg, rinse and repeat until the boss falls down. Not much to do, not overly complicated yet, not straightforward enough that it's boring. Gotta keep you moving and on your feet. I don't mind it. Once you defeat the boss or the big gun or whatever you want to fucking call it, you get Lex Luger out of the container that's on the top of it. I keep calling him Luger, and I know it's Luthor, but my brain's on wrestling mode. So you're gonna get Luger. There's not much I can do about it. You get Lex Luger out of the container. He's alright, but a bit banged up. Flash rips his heart out. It turns out he has a heart. Ha ha ha. Would you look at that? He did have a heart. And then we meet Wonder Woman, who lassos the truth out of the Flash and is like, you gotta kill us, Diana. And then we get put in a container and thrown into a building, because game, I guess. Game. Daily Planet is the building she chose as our destination inside that shipping container. Without wasting any time, it's time to get out of the Daily Planet. I ain't here for news, I'm here for bullets, enemies, and blood, so it's time to get back to my shenanigans. Out of frying pan into the kitchen, as many would say. Metropolis needs our help, and we're here to answer the call. Poison Ivy is the first person that needs our assistance getting out of that building, and that means we need to defend her plants. The aim goal here is to kill all the enemies, shocker I know, till the point where her plants are fully grown, healed, or tested. I'm not really sure what the basis of what we're doing here is. With the trade-off being we can only damage enemies while they're afflicted. The easiest way to do this is just press E on the plants, and it will just affect everyone in the area, so we can just kill them very easily. Normally clearing the room / area, because it's not really rooms, will get you another charge on the plants, and you can just rinse and repeat until the mission is done. Venom Frenzy Affliction is what we unlock. Crazes enemy for 20 seconds, they attack themselves, but they have increased health while doing so. This one is the one I'm trying to build around. I think this is a really fun idea, and currently the end game set that you get in the game from doing the end game is this. It's a Venom set, so might as well give it a good old shakedown, realistically. Not to flex my boat or anything, but another 3-star Riddler done and dusted. Eating my dust, nerds. A simple mission next. Popper's penguins kill the little black blobs on the floor. They give damage buffs, stack the damage buff, then you can deal damage to the enemies, kill all the enemies, the mission ends, everyone goes home happy. Bada bing, bada boom, jobs are good. These missions amplify one of the biggest problems of the game, though, and I'm just going to quickly point it out. Enemy density. Enemy density in this game is a laughing joke. It'll spawn about 4 enemies per roof, and that's it. Enemy density in this game is just a laughing matter. It definitely needs looking into if the game wants to be fun. It is not fun when every single enemy in the game distances itself away from the other one. I just want to point out before we move on from this mission, one glaring issue that these missions in particular highlight the most. Enemy density and how shitty it is. Enemies will spawn in about groups of 3 to 4 on separate rooftops miles away from each other on the ground. The enemy density just doesn't make any sense. They give you all this AoE stuff and then never let you use it to its full capacity. You have Boomerang's 7-sided strike, you have Harley Quinn's grapple explosion, you have affliction strikes, you have grenades, like you have elemental fire builds, and like none of them feel like they'll ever be worth using because enemy density is just meh. It's so small. Like, and I say this as a guy who's recently just done like the end game content that is there currently at a amateur level, like, you know, at entry level, and the density isn't getting any better, it's just getting more repetitive. I don't know how they fix this going forward in the next seasons, the newer areas and stuff. They can just increase the amount of enemies that spawn next to each other. The snipers are a problem in the density department, but for different reasons. All the different types of enemies play a part in the fact that density is fucked. It just means that everything AoE feels pointless. It feels redundant. I don't understand why we're doing this. It would be so much more funner for me if I could just go around and gun down waves of enemies more than killing 4 at a time waiting for the next bunch to spawn in on the opposite roof to me. It just feels counterproductive, and especially like in these missions, when you get down to like the final 4 enemies, they're so scattered around and so misplaced, it's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, onwards and upwards, we meet the toy kid, the toy maker, the kid with the toy. He makes toys, but like they're cool. This guy is now part of our support team. He is going to make us the anti-Flash device so that we can fight Flash, the speedster. With him joining the team means new support missions unlocked. They're very basic in nature yet again, with killing the enemies to get pickups and putting the pickups into his toy truck. Doing this enough times will trigger the next bus to spawn, you go fly over to it, and then you do the same at that bus. There's not much difference in gameplay, just kill the enemies, get the little like tapes that he wants you to get, and then put them in the bus truck toy thingy, and then that will fly up into the air. Go to the next one, do the same thing, that will fly up into the air. Bob's your uncle, you've done the mission. Doing this mission did in fact unlock fast traveling. You can only fast travel to one location, the Hall of Justice within the Justice League Sanctum, but you can fast travel there now. It makes sense, seeming everything you need is there, from re-rolling to crafting to changes of your gear to whatever the fucking Toyman does to the care packages. All that stuff is going to be located here, so you gotta be able to fast travel there or the game would get tedious very quickly. Not like it isn't already. With the Flash in our sights, the coupler earned and ready to go and fight him, it's time that we take a break and go do some support missions. Relax, chillax, level up, get some moves done. Hack is what is going to supply us with this. This time, don't hold your horses, like it's insane. We got 2, I repeat it, 2 terminals to kill all the enemies at, while Hack does a hacking thing. You gotta love it, dude. Doing this mission unlocks us a legendary crafting recipe, and we are ready to move forward, upwards, and onwards. The worst mission of all time, made 10 times worse by the fact that they added a fucking stipulation where you can only kill enemies with critical hits. Now, some enemies only have critical hit spots on their back, so that means you gotta get behind them. Most people are annoying to get behind. The only way I found an effective way to do this at like any time was just to hit them up in the air and let the auto aim take care of it. Any other way of trying to deal with this is just a fucking nightmare. Like, what a way to make a mission that already fucking sucks dick just even worse. Thanks, team. One final pit stop before we can go take on the Flash, because for some fucking strange, ungodly, unknown reason I decided that I should be doing every single mission that pops up on the map, because I just hate myself. It's a good mission this time. It's the car one. It's like the second best mission in the game by far. By far, it's like the second best mission in the game. It is the best mission in the base game. End game has one better mission. But like in the base game, it is by far like the best mission you can get. It's just non-stop fun. It just blows shit up the video game. Who doesn't want that? It breaks up gameplay completely and gives you something to enjoy before you gotta go rescue some prick because he got trapped by aliens that can only be damaged by critical hit because it's cake day. Another 3-star Riddler race for the GOAT of all time. This is no exaggeration, you're an hour into this video, so just imagine how long it took me to get here. This is probably like a decent amount of hours worth of time, and this is the first member of the Justice League I'm about to fight. Just put that into perspective. I've glossed over like 90% of the missions. This fucking game's called Kill the Justice League, and I'm like an hour into this video glossing over 90% of the things you've seen so far, and we're only now fighting the first member, which by the way is the Flash. which I'm pretty sure is one of the strongest members of the Justice League, and we're just throwing him in like he's nothing. He's dirt meat. I don't know. Anyway, they do like a little video to call him out. He grabs the cameras, like, I'm gonna fuck you up, boys. And then you do the fight. I don't understand how they fucked this fight up so bad. I can present a better fight than they do. I'll give the lowdown on how this fight works. He charges around the arena doing fuck all. Just absolute nothing burgers. Then when he stops for a good like chunk of time to charge up a lightning beam, which is weird anyway. I think it's supposed to be an energy ball that he fires at you or whatever it is. Then you dodge it by either strafing if you're far enough a distance from it, or by dodging it if you're close. And then you counter shot, and then you can just wail on him. Doesn't matter, just wail on him. Anytime he stood still, which is a lot during this fight, wail on him. Great. Good job, team. Second phase, tornadoes get added, but they're nothing. They're like a nothing. Again, just another nothing, because they don't fucking hinder you in the slightest. They don't put any fucking, like, anything into the fight. It's just, okay, cool. Then what happens next? Oh, there's more Barrys. Cool. That's great. He's moving so fast, he's duplicated himself. Cool concept. Wasted by the fact that you can just instantly counter shot him now, so you're never gonna run out of the counter shot bar. Great, good job, team. And then what else happens? Oh, he just fires more balls now. Cool, great. I have more chance to hinder him and injure him. Cool, great, good job, team. Third phase is just the exact same as the second phase, just more of it. Wonderful, team. It should have been a gimmick fight from the get-go, and I don't get why it wasn't. Having a free-flowing Flash boss fight is always going to be difficult with someone who doesn't have superpowers, pretty much because he is the fastest man alive, and is probably one of the more stronger heroes in like the whole DC universe, because of the things he can do by moving so fast. Like, by moving so fast, he has multiple powers based around that. He can do multiple things. Like, looking into him, he's like more of an interesting character than just runs fast. He's not just Sonic. But like, what they should have done here, in my personal opinion, that would have made the fight not good, not great, but much more bearable, is had it be a gimmick fight. Have him run around the arena, blasting balls at you. You've got to run out from cover to cover, trying to make sure you're not getting hit by these balls that he keeps blasting you with. And then, when he comes to charge you, you pretty much just melee. You get like a split second, you melee him, and then it fucking pounces him back with the wrist ram that you got given for the fight that has been shown to work only when he physically touches you. So, with that being said, then he's in a weakened state, you ram him with bullets, and then you rinse and repeat, add in extra things, add in some ads, add in some more tornadoes that actually do something, just keep upping the ante, and just do that 3 times. That would have made a much more, in my opinion, entertaining boss fight. It would have made it much more on theme for Flash, and it just would have been funner overall than just looking at him standing there menacingly. He's the goddamn Flash! After many bullets from miniguns and pistols, eventually the boy will go down, taking us to one more bullet to finish him off. This will also take us to the controversial death scenes. A lot of people don't like them, and I can see where they're coming from. It's very weird that everyone just dies to a bullet to the head when we've just been shooting them for like hours on end. Also, all the deaths happen off screen. You never see them get shot, you just see the character pull the trigger, which is very irritating as well. I don't mind them. I think they're very like on par with what I was expecting. These guys don't have superpowers. These guys also just don't have any other teamwork or anything. They're just bandits with guns, and I expected people to die from gunshots. You could have went goofy with it, I guess, and had like Boomerang like fucking like decapitate someone and like wear it as a mask or something. Like, fucking fine, know what you could have done. Had Shark like eat a man, I guess. So, you know, I haven't got a fucking clue how far like they wanted people to go with it, or what they really wanted. I haven't really paid attention. I saw a lot of people complaining, especially about the Batman one, which we will get to. Other than that, yeah, Flash is dead. Bullet to the head. With that means we are 1 member down and 3 more to go, if I'm counting my Justice League members correctly. With that being said, Green Lantern is back on our beat. Deadshot thinks he can take him because he's all macho man, but it turns out that Deadshot is actually a fucking idiot, and we end up in this desert wasteland. A hop, jump, skip, bat drone, grappling hook away, we will find Lex 2 Electric Boogaloo. Welcome to Earth 2 Electric Boogaloo at that. We're on an alternate universe of Earth where Brainiac won and is now siphoning power and making minions descend from this Earth to our Earth. A lot of Earthy stuff. We gotta get Lex out of here. But before we help Lexi get out of Earth 2 back to Earth 1, so Earth 1 has a Lexi boy and Earth 2 can just rot in death, I suppose, we've unlocked Infamy Set. Infamy Sets are just set pieces that you can get now. A lot of them are based after characters. Not much else to say on that. Just thought I'd point out that we have set pieces now. The last mission type to enter the mission board is an escort quest for some reason. It's not a bad mission type, to be fair. It doesn't, like, destroy the game. If it made the game worse somehow, like, that would be a feat of itself. But, like, he has a ginormous health bar that, like, resets after every encounter. He moves on his own accord, so it's not like you need to stand next to him. And he'll be like, oh, great Scott, they've summoned an army! And then you just kill everything, like usual. And then it's like, oh, the health bar resets, everything goes back to normal. Everything's good. They've summoned a Brutus! Kill it! And then you kill it, and then, like, you know, we move forward. And then, like, I need time. Cover me! And then you just do the thing, and then eventually you get teleported home. Jobs are good. It's not a terrible escort quest. It could be much worse. He doesn't need defending consistently. His health bar regens and, like, resets, so there's, like, no problem there. Even when sometimes he doesn't even have a health bar in some encounters, so it's fine. Like, it doesn't ruin the game. It's generally one of the middle tier. If you somehow manage to get mission like this middle tier, an escort quest in the middle tier, you've either done something really good, or your other quests are just so dog shit in comparison. Like your other mission types, that like an escort quest, a nice breathing point. And sadly, it's the second one. Eventually, after getting the truck to its designated location, letting Lexi Boy do his Lexi thing and cover him long enough, eventually it'll cause us to do a freeze frame, and then we'll like teleport back to Earth 1 with Lex, and now Lex from Earth 2 is now really Alex from Earth 1, because now he lives here and whatnot. We have a Lex again, pretty much. We were informed by Lex to not let the old woman know that we know where a new Lex is. He's trying to be all secretive and hidey. We don't tell the big woman in the big room that controls our explodey brains, and we get ready for our next mission. Back to the tedious, monotonous bullshit of the missions in this game. Back out into the open world of Metropolis, we're going to land ourselves in an old smash the batteries, kill the incubator quest. That doesn't take too long, our finishes in a quick minute or two, and we're back out to doing our same old bullshit of swinging through the city. On a side note, we now have flash-infused enemies, which is just yay. Great. Now we get to try out my stance on killing flash-imbued enemies. We must kill all the enemies again. Woo! Yeah! Kill the flash enemies! Woo! All the enemies must die! Yeah! Woo! Incubator's up next on the mission board, and to be honest, this is like one of my more favorite ones, just because like the enemy density is actually decent around the batteries and the incubators, and that's where the majority of the enemies spawn, on the location that I'm supposed to be at, so it's never fucking annoying or irritating to kill enemies. It's great. I love it. It's just a fun time over at Incubator HQ. Taking these incubators down, however, will take us one step closer to freeing Metropolis. Destroying those incubators gains you access to Wayne's World, where he hides all his cool technology. This is how we're going to have any chance of beating the Justice League, which remains Superman, Batman, and Green Lantern. Two of those sounding a lot harder to kill than one of them, and if you fucking catch my drift, Batman's just a human with money. I don't know how much tech you're gonna need to beat him, but ayo, what do I know? Wonder Woman, for some reason, melds fucking kryptonite to her shield when she has a sword she could have done it with and sliced them open and made them into fucking sushi, but saving people is better, I guess. The one person to the thousands he's about to murder in an instant click of his fingers. But what do I know, I guess. With that being said, Luthor teleports in, points us to the Green Lantern technology we need to beat him with, and we can move on from this. Wanting to try and give this game some sort of a fair shakedown during all the missions, before we can go take on the baddest of greens and biggest of lanterns, we must first go tend to Ivy's plants. We're now just going to start skipping these like as a whole unit and skim over the missions before we get to the bosses, because right now everything's just on repeat. Like, the most this changes is the element that Ivy's plants are going to spew out, so there's not much to ever add in context now to any of these missions, so we're just going to end up skimming over what's left of the side missions and support missions unless they do something vital to the game, and then we'll just get towards, you know, the main campaign, cutscene bosses and whatnot in between. I feel like an hour 13 in, you've seen all you need to see side quest wise. They don't change in the slightest now. That being said, let's stop wasting time and just gun these fucking missions out. Next up after Ivy was kill all the enemies. Simple, easy, fun. This time in a condensed area, they actually spawned decently, so everyone was happy. After that, we move on to a save all the civilians as Deadshot, because goddammit, it's increased XP and increased damage. Damage being the key importance. You cannot make me do a save the civilians quest with less damage. I won't do it. The faster that mission goes, the happy I am, so I'm going to speedrun that one. After that, all that's left to do is go try and take down the biggest of bads, the greenest of lanterns. Entering his big green domain of doom, this will start a dick measuring competition between Green Lantern and Deadshot. Deadshot tries to get the team morale moving and get them all to join in. Everyone just acts confused and like, go on mate, you do you, but I'm not paying attention. And then the boss fight starts. Now I know what you're thinking, Ashley, did they cook or did they not? They did alright. You know, they did a decent job. It's a very middle-of-the-road boss fight. One of those mindless funs, I would call. Like, it's just brain-dead fun. I just want to shoot, shockingly, shooting shit in my looter shooter is what I want to do, and this boss kind of fills that gap. It's better than the Flash, but I would be like saying having legs is better than not having legs. So comparing the two fights is pointless, so I'm not going to do that. What I am going to say is the mechanics and how the boss works. Pretty much, he has a bar, just like the Flash. I know I said I wouldn't compare, but that's a pattern you're going to see in these fights, so you might as well get used to that. And then what you do is that you shoot him. Yep, you shoot him. You shoot him and eventually you'll get a shield. Destroy his green constructs, the shield will go away, and you can shoot him some more. Rinse and repeat until he dies. Boss fight in a nutshell. The lower health you get him, the more constructs you'll get, the more wackier the constructs will get. A bajillion missiles, a bajillion fucking, like, mines on the field, like helicopters strafing across the field, him putting like actual anti-air missiles to gun me down. A lot of fun stuff happens in the fight. Keeps you moving, keeps you on your toes, do respect it all. It's just middle of the road fun. I don't know, like, there's no better way to put it. If this was the first fight, I would have been a lot happier leading up to this point, but then the Flash would have showed up eventually, and then I would have got mad again. So maybe it was better that they went with the Flash first. Who knows? Nearing the end of the fight, the Green Lantern gets a bit of a panic on and thinks he can out-minigun the macho minigun man himself, Jimmy the Owl. Bad move. Takes enough bullets to finally put down the biggest of bads, the greenest of greens, and the stupidest of lanterns, and he dies. Just dies. They're dead. Shark rips off his finger and everything. We've got a 2-for-2 on finger rippage on the Justice League, and we move on to him putting the finger on, summoning a shark out of the water, which doesn't make any sense. He's a Green Lantern, he can just summon it in the sky, but whatever, I guess. Each to their own, how they want to summon constructs from the Lantern's ring. And then he sends it up at the Brainiac ship. It goes burn straight into that shit. Finally, we've got movement on destroying Brainiac's ship. But sadly, he turns it around on us and fires the shark at us. We rip the ring off of Shark's finger, get it into the water, ring's gone and done. It'll probably pop up in another season, I would guess. Then they fire a fucking nuke at us to get rid of the ship, which is fair enough, honestly. I can't blame them. You know, Metropolis is fucking done for. We're pretty much worthless as it is. Even if we have killed 2 Justice League members, we're not much use to them. So nuke everything and go home happy. Sounds like a good plan, but the old Soups is there to stop it, and he's on Brainiac's team. Summoning the most comical scene ever to be seen in a video game. It's Wonder Woman smashing her shield into Clark Kent's head over and over again. The animation being reused just over it. It's the most stupid shit ever. But we've got an escort mission with Waller to do, I am afraid. I'm going to be very straight and real with you here. Do you know these escort missions are not that bad? And I would argue and wager that If they replaced the Save the Civilian missions with these escort missions, one, it would increase the playtime, which they're doing anyway by trying to pad out with all these stupid fucking additions and stupid fucking criterias to get missions done, and having enemies spawn miles away from you, so you just gotta fly around and try and find them when it's kill all the enemies and you can't find the last three. Like, it's all just there to kill time, so it doesn't fucking matter. Just put the escort quests in over the Save the Civilians quest. Have the enemies for kill all the enemies spawn in a like condensed, steady area with snipers across from you, very visible. And I think that fixes like the majority of the problems I have with the game. I can't stand the Save the Civilians quest. It hurts my soul when it's on the screen. Never mind when I was playing it, but just watching the footage back, it hurts my soul. I like visibly get angry when it's on my screen. Like, it is that traumatizing to me. I don't want to save no more civilians, and you can't make me. Anyway, let's get to the job at hand. The old woman's got a bum leg and will blow our brains up with a little button press if we don't get her from point A to point B in Metropolis. These missions, like I said, they're just chill missions. Because there's an arrow showing you exactly where the vehicle's going to go, the vehicle keeps moving if you're nowhere near it. As long as you just keep far enough ahead that you beat the enemy spawns, kill the enemies, the truck technically will never stop moving if you do it fast enough. Meaning that's not one of those just terrible escort missions, it's just a chill adventure. Eventually, once you get the ice cream truck to point A to point B, we'll see Superman and Wonder Woman fighting, again, slamming shields into heads, whips out a sword, again, don't know why she didn't put fucking kryptonite on it, but whatever, I suppose. Stabs him with kryptonite. Again, if you had it on the sword, this would have been a simpler fucking endeavor. Does nothing, gets laser beamed to death, Superman flies away, Wonder Woman scatters to dust, we get inside. With that devastating endeavor out of the way, we got 2 more League members to kill. Bats is up to bat. Ha ha. What happens here is Lexi Boy gives us an idea on how to beat him, and then we feed that information from our earpieces out of our mouths via Boomerang, which is probably the dumbest person to be giving this information. Who the fuck's gonna believe Boomerang of all people has come up with any idea? The plan: find Batman, capture Batman, kill Batman, optional objective, and then we can finally beat Superman. That is the current objective we are on. Let's get it done. Let's go, team! You bet your sweet bippy there's other things we've got to do before we go straight to the guy, the boy, the big one, the creepy guy, the black mask of the night, whatever you want to call him. He's not here right now. He's on leave, and we've got to kill time until he's back. So without further ado, let's run down these missions. First mission on the agenda is Toy Car, data needed. Kill all the enemies in the area, collect the data, go to next car, kill all the enemies, collect the data, next mission. Next on the agenda, Poison Ivy needs her plants protecting. This time it's frost on the plants, and we've got fire on the pistols, making us a deadly combo of freezing and unfreezing, the deadliest of duos. And once we do that, a little cutscene emerges, and we finally get the car needed to find the Batcave. This is Gizmo's Batmobile. Don't know why he thought he could make one, but he did, and he made one, and it's terrible. Not much to say to the mission. The aim of the game, he's gonna sit there hovering in his stupid little Batmobile while we cover him, killing all the enemies. Nice little enemies remaining number there. We like those. And then you kill them all. And then he's like, oh, it's not here. The Batcave's not here. We'll go somewhere else. And then you go somewhere else. Another fucking, oh, cover me while I scan for a Batcave. You fucking bum, boo, brr, pow, poop, pop, all the comic book noises that you would get. And then he's like, oh, the Batcave's not here. Oh, schwocks. And then he's like, he runs off to the next location. And then you actually fucking sit there and play a video game. And that's where the Batcave is. Welcome to Wayne's World 2 Brucey Boys Edition. This is where his hologram is to explain to us how to defeat the Justice League, even though we've already defeated 2 of them. And then he gets to himself, and he's like, well, actually, there's no way to beat me. No contingency plan. Good job, Batman. Good job. You're a fucking genius. I'm glad we came, because you're not helping in the slightest. As soon as we get to the Superman bit, he goes away. Thanks, Bruce. You've helped us a ton. After that, Batman's like, I'm here. Rah! And then you play the other part of the game that requires 4 players to play the game. And by requires, I mean is just a lot better with 4 people. This is the only other part of the game that is very heavily multiplayer inspired. It's pretty much you've all got to go around and release the valves because Batman has released fear toxins, and everyone's having their own hallucinations based on their character. Captain Boomerang, Dead Shark, King Shark, and Harley are all having hallucinations, having bat figures stood over them, but they're having an inner monologue by themselves, like their non-villain counterparts, talking to them, telling them how much of a failure they are, how much they're just not doing the right thing, how much they've let themselves down and stuff, how their family would be disappointed in them. And King Shark's one, they all have that interesting moment. The problem is I got lost interest the second time I did it because it is no different for anyone. No one gets a unique experience except from the monologues. They are all just going from point A to point B, turning off filters and ventilations. So like it doesn't really do much for a single playthrough. This is by far the most like aggressive form of the multiplayer aspect being thrust into you, because you can't just run, you've got to walk so slowly, and unlike the museum, it's a distance to get from point A to point B, so it's not just a quick endeavor. But eventually, after doing it as all 4 characters are in multiplayer, once everyone's gone and done it, you get to the boss fight. What can I say about this fight? It is by far the best fight in the game. Hands down, doesn't even come close. There's not a single fight in this game that comes close to being as good as the Fear Batman fight. The Fear Toxin crafting into like a fucking actual boss fight that like morphs the world around you, sending fucking like lava pillars and crows and bats down at you via bombs and putting like explosives on the floor. You gotta keep moving around the boss arena. You're on the small platform. He's a big target, but he doesn't take a lot of damage until you can counter shot him. My big complaints will be you don't do a lot of damage, so the fight kind of goes on long, but that's also a positive in my mind because I wanted the fight to continue. I wanted more of this because I knew Superman wasn't giving me a fight like this, so I was very, very saddened to be like, this should have been the final boss. I would have been so much happier because like this boss just trumps anything this game has to throw at you. The other thing is the counter shots seem very iffy. Me and my friend, because I was streaming it to him while we were playing, we're trying to work out when the counter shot actually pops up. He made the prediction it was every 25% of health loss, but we tried to calculate that and it didn't seem like it. It seems like the first 3 come out very quickly until half health, and then it only happens like once again near the end of his health bar. Yeah, it just doesn't add up on how, like, from half health to whenever it happens again next, which is like near the end of his health bar, like the final stretch, it feels like an eternity till you get another counter shot. But the whole fight itself is a glorious display of what the game could have been, how good this game should have been, and what we got is after this shows that yeah, we didn't get it, and I'm so sad. Anyway, eventually you'll beat the Fear Toxin Batman. Beating him will bring you back to reality and capturing the Bat. Before we can capture him, however, Boomerang wants to make it a tradition now that we just take a finger of a Justice League member. So far, we are 2 for 2. He took Flash's thing by accident before he was even evil, and Shark just ripped off the Green Lantern's finger, so, like, you know, 3 for 3 makes a lot more sense during this. After Batman's carried Harley on her shoulders who knows how many times, Harley returns the favor and struggles to lift the man, never mind take him to a lift. Delivering our good old pal Wayne boy to Lex Luthor so he can do all his experimental shenanigans on him to figure out how we're going to defeat the old superest of men. We leave him in his new daycare position and we go back out into Metropolis getting ready to figure out what we're doing next. Back on my bullshit clearing out side quests and support missions to get the old XP up so Harley's the strongest she can be for when we fight the super duper dumper duper duper man. You kill all the enemies to save Ivory's plants, but this time, electric powers, woo! By far the fastest mission, incubator missions, and if you don't understand why, there's no progression bar, there's no kill all the enemies aspect to it, is literally go over to the batteries, kind of kill all the enemies on the battery, even if you knock them away from the battery, it counts sometimes, but there's only ever like 3 enemies on a battery at a time. Destroy the batteries, run over the incubator, ignore the enemies, destroy the incubator, bada bing, bada boom, missions are good. Next mission on the agenda, kill all the enemies, get the charges, bank your charges, watch a bomb go off, and then rinse and repeat 3 times until missions are good. With the only difference being they've added in the effect where you've got to get damage boosts, stacking up to 10, get all 10 damage boosts to do the most damage, and have the longest time on them. Run out of time, gotta get damage boosts again, or you can't kill any enemies. No damage boosts, no kills, no fun. Back to the main story, Golden Kryptonite. Sure, why not? I don't know if this is a... I'm just gonna quickly Google if this is a thing. Yeah, I don't know. This seems like a whole lot... Like, Golden Kryptonite is a thing. Gold Kryptonite is actually a thing. It's the rarest version of Kryptonite, which is mind-boggling to think, because Kryptonite's supposed to be rare enough as is, even though every motherfucker on this planet Earth can get a hold of it somehow. But Golden Kryptonite is harder to get. Somehow, we just have a boatload of it to stick on ourselves. Don't know how we gathered that. Seeming it's normally gathered from floating meteors through space. This game makes even less sense when I start to look it up. It's from Pocket Universes, Prime Earth. Like, what does any of this mean to me? I know I haven't seen any of these. Where did we get this? Now, looking at the wiki, it doesn't say it's very effective to be worn while fighting him, but we wear it anyway. At this point, I'm not going to question it. It probably makes sense to some degree. I don't really get, like, just shoving it in his face should be enough. So, like, maybe wearing it when he comes to punch us, it doesn't just one-hit us into existence, maybe? God knows. Only the Lord knows what wearing it does for us. Personally, I think we probably should have put it in the bullets. Welcome to the 3rd escort mission of the game. I wanted to try and do some funny, like, French thing, but, like, I can't even remember my French numbers anymore. I want to say it goes un, deux, trois, but, like... it's been a while since I've done my French, but this is the mission on escorting people, I suppose. It's no different to what we've been doing. It's a normal escort mission. They throw a tank in to try and change it up a little, but it's still the same quest. Goal in mind, get Batman to a park so he can sit on a bench. It sounds reasonable enough. Let's get him to it. Now, this is the controversial bit, right? This is the part where everyone gets upset because Batman dies. And if it was any other Batman, I don't think anyone would care. But because, like I said earlier, and I made a joke about it near the beginning of the video, the museum makes it damn well clear you can't try and dissociate this from the Arkham universe. This is the Batman people have been experiencing for 14 years. Let that sink in. That is 14 years worth of memories you've made with this guy, just for it to be taken away with one bullet. They couldn't have multiversed them, they could have done anything else. We already are traversing into multiverse level experience of gameplay. They could have used any other version of Batman, yet they decided to throw away 14 years worth of build on one simple cutscene and bullet. He has the best fight, yes, and he probably has the best death. And if you look past the cutscene where Harley gives the speech that in the end Batman won because this is what he would have wanted, his death has brought together a team able to stop the Justice League. In essence, the whole thing works good enough for me to not feel offended. Also, I don't really play the Arkham games, so I don't have 14 years worth of investment in this. But I feel like the whole thing is, one, yes, I can understand if you don't like it. I can. I really do, and I get it. But I don't mind it. I don't think it's the worst decision that they've ever made in a video game. I do wish they gave him a better death on screen wise. I don't like the way they just shoot him off screen like they've done every other hero, and then you just see a slumped over body. Doesn't really work for me, but the speech at the end rounds it out enough for me, where she goes, in the end Batman won because he got what he wanted. There's a team of heroes, quote-unquote heroes, to save the world and put an end to this. In the end, the Bat always wins. That, like, kind of rounds it out enough for me to not be super offended. I don't like the way it just, like, randomly cycled the deaths on the internet. Like, everything does, really. They just kind of, like, left some bits out and everyone got hurt by it. If they saw that clip, would they still been hurt? Probably. I don't think it fixes the initial problem that Batman just gets shot off screen, and that is 14 years worth of development for nothing. I don't know what to tell you. I don't mind it, but I can understand why people don't like it. Originally, I was kind of thinking a Superman fight doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If he really wanted to, he could just, like, fly into our car, like completely fucking decapitate it, completely like null and void it, and the Earth would collapse in on itself, or destroy the magnetic field, like fling us off it by like sending us round and round the rotation too fast. You could do many things instead of just fight us mono v mono. I kind of remembered they put a failsafe in there that Brainiac needs the world to be intact to transform it, so technically he can't just destroy the world to beat us, so he has to fight us mono v mono. I'm not going to act like I understand anything to do with Kryptonite and Superman. I don't know why he couldn't just laser beam us from a distance and not be anywhere near the Kryptonite. I don't think the Kryptonite creates a like barrier against his abilities. I think I need to be near him. So like if he laser beamed me from a distance, I don't think the Kryptonite would be like shield and stop it or anything. So anyway, I'm getting way off topic. How's the boss fight? This is how the Flash boss fight should have been. In all honesty, he doesn't stand still long enough to be an easy target. He is blipping across my screen and making it hard to even realize where he is half the time, creating natural disasters in the boss arena that I can't really control, / I have to move away from and avoid. Why couldn't the Flash boss fight been like this? You still have the same mechanic as the Flash boss fight. When he does stand still, or while he's moving not so fast, you have to countershot certain abilities he's using, but it's not an always guaranteed hit unless he's doing a move where he slams into the ground and has a second to recover. You could have given that to the Flash and I would have accepted it, instead of him standing there to charge a move, to fire a puny fucking ball at me dodge it, and him still be stood there by the time my dodge is finished. I don't know about that. That seems stupid to me. Anyway, I don't get why the Flash fight was so bad when this one is just fine. I really don't get how they fucked the Flash fight so bad when they clearly had a good blueprint, because the Superman fight ain't terrible. It's definitely not great. It's definitely not Batman levels of boss fight. It is like the normal Suicide Squad level boss fight. Meh. Doesn't really do anything special. He's whipping out tanks to use as like weaponry and stuff, which is like cool the first time he does it, but then like, you know, I'm just trying to fight you, dude. Put the fucking tank down and let me shoot you. It starts to creep in. But it's the same sort of deal with the Flash. You gotta counter shot him, and when you do that, it fills the bar at the bottom, and when the bar is filled, when it gets so far, it's critical hits only, and then it starts to go down, it's normal hits, and when it's empty, you can't armor him anymore. So it's the same general fight premise as, you know, the Flash. It's just on a much grander scale. Kind of annoying that they went with that, because it shows exactly my point. The Flash fight shouldn't have been as bad as it is. They should have never been as bad as it is. Like, the fact that the Flash fight is like that, and then they redo it here, but better, is really annoying. Anyway, the fight itself is pretty simple in nature. Just wait for him to do one of his arena-based abilities. He'll just make a big circle on the floor, just get out of it. He'll explode, wind or fire, and then he just like stands there to recharge a little, counter shot, spray some bullets into him, bada bing, bada boom, Bob's your uncle. Eventually he will just like take a lot of damage and die. Keeping the bar filled is going to be the aim of the game in the fight, so that you can keep hitting critical hits on him. There's not much to talk about. Don't let him close to you. Don't let him do his stupid shit. He's going to fly around. If you're good at aiming, get shoot of him. If you're not, just get somewhere safe, because like he laser beams. He does some booky stuff. Eventually, though, doesn't take too long. It's a pretty quick endeavor. He will go down, the Superman will be no more, and we can move on to whatever else is after killing the Justice League, I suppose, because the game continues for some reason. And that's because going for a high five will summon Brainiac. The guy I kind of just forgets in the game, because everyone mentions him, but like they ignore him a lot, to be honest. You're so focused on killing the Justice League, I kind of forget this man is around doing things. But you finally meet him face to face as he teleports you to his ship, as he's about to like fucking mold you into the team. You get pulled out by Lexi Boy, and we can begin the final preparations for Endgame. Welcome to the training for Endgame, baby. See, he's now showing you missions that give you coins. These coins are used to get into the Endgame areas. We're still in base game, by the way, in case you were wondering. They're still training us for this stuff for some reason. Doing all 3 missions will give you 3,000 coins each, which you can use to go fight Brainiac. What are these missions exactly? Let's find out. But But before we can experience what endgame's gonna be like, I still have some support missions left to do. So that means we're gonna go help Gizmo out with his car by killing enemies to collect, like, mixtapes that are better than his album. Don't know why. And then you just slot them into the van and he's ready to go. Followed by Hack's mission, which is just the same old shit. 2 points, defend them, kill all the enemies as they spawn on the point so that she can finish hacking. Fun stuff. Followed by Toyman, who wants me to save civilians because he hates me and I hate him. And we're ready to go endgame. Mission 1. Is it going to change the endgame for better? Let's find out. Escort the truck from point A to point B with the bomb inside. Once you get it from point A to point B, it turns into a save my ass and cover the truck mission. More on the case of like how Lex Luthor's mission worked, where you had to get the van from point A to point B, then defend it until he pressed all the buttons, and then we went. It's that exact mission. So, no difference in the slightest. First endgame mission is a reused mission from the main campaign. We love it. The second one can't be the same, surely. I did, however, manage to break the game. I know what you're thinking. Ashley, please stop breaking games. I don't know how I do these things. I got stuck on the floor. Just normal things, I guess. The truck managed to make it there soundly on its own while I'm stuck in here, thankfully. And the mission didn't fail because I finally eventually got out after some persuasion of movement. But, like, yeah, thanks, game. Thanks for doing this to me. I'm not even going to be asked to make, like, a grandiose reveal. Is it different? You know it's not different. None of this fucking game is different. This is just the cannon fight that you do with Flash. But now it's got laser shields. Woo! Like, fuck me, dude. Like, fuck! No shot, by the way. This is not me capping. This is not me trying to make it funny for the video or anything. This is literally the endgame missions. Because the next one is just another fucking dump truck, get the truck to the fucking tornado mission and defend it. And that's it. This is all you do now. This is literally the end game. You do this so that you can enter the end game area, which is where we're going to go now to fight Brainiac. By going to the Brainiac mission and paying your entrance fee, this is what you get. You go to Earth 2, you go do 3 missions based around on all the missions you're going to be doing in Endgame, and then you go and fight Brainiac. There's not much to it. You just shift around the world. You have a time limit just like you do in the Endgame, and yeah, then you go fight Brainiac. I'll go through the missions in the Endgame like part of the video, so like we're not shifting there too much. But yeah, this is it. Let's go to the Brainiac fight, shall I shit you not, right? Like, this is like a fever dream. Like, this shouldn't be existing. We should have ended on Superman, went home, went to bed, everyone cheered in happiness. The game ended decently. But no, we brought Brainiac into this. We have to fight him now. What's he going to do? I really hope this is at random, and I just got the worst look ever, because he turns into the fucking Flash. Of all the bosses in the game he can choose, he picks the Flash, the worst, single-handed worst boss in this game, and he picks that one to fucking final fight me with. Not just that, they just throw in ads to make the fight feel a little different. And that's it. That's the fight. That is the fight. The only difference part in this fight from actually fighting Flash to fighting him is the ads. And eventually he summons in all the... This is the only other time they ever mention you're slaughtering the members of Metropolis. As he spawns them all in, you jump in a car and you blow them all up. And then you can use the car on him. So it makes the Flash fight, the easiest fight in the game by far, even easier. I don't know. This is generally the worst final boss I've ever played. I've played Dark Souls 2, okay? And I will sit here and tell you that is one of the best games I've ever played. But Scholar of the First Sin, up to this moment in time, was the worst final boss I ever fought. The guy is a tree who sits there, fires fire spells, and then gets hit. Sucks as a fight. This is worse. This is 10 times worse. This is 20 times worse. This is the Flash, but somehow just easier. How did you do this? You beat him pretty quickly. He doesn't put up a fight. You fucking throw him in your stupid Pokeball. You take him to the fucking Earth. You show him to Luthor after you suffocate him in the Pokeball because you're a fucking idiot. He wakes up. You stab him with a thing. He wiggles on the floor. Luthor's like, we've got what we needed. There's 12 more of these things leading up to the 12 seasons I'm gonna have to fucking participate in because I bought the game. As long as I don't have to buy anything for the seasons, I'm going to play them and get my money's worth. And it doesn't end here, still, because now it's the end game that I've repeatedly said. How does the end game work, Ashley? Let me tell you. They do give a tribute to Batman at the end, which is also a tribute to the voice actor who passed away a few years ago, which is really nice. On brand and on point, and gets everything that they need to get across. They thank the Batman for doing what he does, but also in secrecy, it's kind of like just thanking Kevin, as well as a big thank you, Kevin, after the credits finish, which I do think is very nice and a good touch, and I think they did a really good job on that. But to the end game. The end game looks like this. We've got Infinite Crisis. Well, Infinite Crisis? Like, what does that even mean? Anyway, Bane's Infamy set is like the set for this season, and you just gotta rank up in the Infinite Crisis part to get it. How'd you rank up in the Infinite Crisis? Let me tell you. Just like the final mission where you ran around in Metropolis and did the missions for the coins so that you could use those coins to do the missions in Earth 2, it's the exact same premise here. You go do the missions in Metropolis to gain coins so you can go do the one of 3 missions on Earth 2. These missions were all the missions that you did in the final mission that I neglected to talk about, so I could talk about them now. Those being Lex's one, where he teleports you to Earth 2, gives you a time limit on how many, and it depends on the difficulty, I'm pretty sure, on how long the time limit is, and you gotta kill as many enemies as possible, getting as many charges as possible, and bank it in, doing it 3 times until you get to leave, and then you have a time limit again, and you have to swing out of Earth 2, and then that one's done. Then there is Poison Ivy, which is the exact same as it is in the normal world, except now there's a time limit to it. No different from the Incubators, which is the exact same thing, except with a time limit on it. Are you seeing a pattern here? The end game is the exact same as the base game, but with a time limit on it. These are the ones that you could get from the beginning, and these are the only ones I've had so far. There's only one other thing that you can do in this game, and that's the Infinite Crisis level 10 time mode, where you just sit there and try and survive for as long as you possibly can in a barren wasteland filled with nothing. Enemies barely spawn. When they do, they don't spawn near you, but miles away from you. Difficulty is going up as I'm traveling, while I'm doing fuck all for no reason whatsoever. This is a dog shit, bland, terrible mode. If they did like a Diablo 3 Greater Rift instead, I think I would have enjoyed it more. Or hell, if they just cornered you off in one small area and kept it going that way. Like, the fact that the whole of Earth 2 is up to offer here, but barely any enemies spawn, and when they do, they spawn in the opposite direction of where you are, is god-awful, terrible, boring, just despicable design. It's so... My biggest complaint in this game has been, so far, if you paid attention, is that the missions repeat and enemy density. And what do? They make a mode where enemy density being high would be extremely fun, and then continue to give you the same small cluster of fucking enemy spawns that don't do anything for you, or boring, bland, and generic. It's so bad that this was even a mode to begin with, and I went all the way up to like 15, 16, 17, and it didn't get any better, it just stayed the same. All of that for 2 items, by the way. One was an extremely better rolled pistol than the one I currently have. But yeah, all that for 2 items. One of them was a legendary shield. One of them was the pistol. Yeah, I don't want to do that ever again. That was 20 minutes of my life just to feel like I got like nothing, pretty much. Wonderful. And before we can get to the final thoughts, I have to point out there was a 30+ gigabyte update for 4 bug fixes, and that was it. Yeah, I've not done that patch yet, so I've not played since that update, because I'm not doing fucking 30+ gigabytes of update just for 4 bug fixes to do around the fire not working. The final thoughts on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I'm thinking about a rating system, but I haven't got there yet on a rating system, so I'm not going to be rating games at the moment. I just kind of recommend if you should buy them or not. And you can, if you can get 4 people on sale, maybe. Like, 4 people ready to boot up and suit up on a sale, nowhere near the price it's currently at, like half or more, then go. Other than that, stay far away. It's not worth it. It's not good enough. It's not even mind-numbingly good enough. With the biggest problem being there's too many mission types that make you kind of take a deep breath, have a big sigh, look at your window, go, man, it would be good to take a flight today, and then sit down and get depressed playing a game. That's like the general basis I have on this game. Like I said, the only recommendation I can make, if you can get 4 people on a discount half or more price, then maybe if you're ready for it, looked into it enough, you could value that it could be a bit of fun. Personally, I'll just wait to see the seasons. Like, I've dived in deep, and I'm going to regret it. Just wait till, like, Season 3. See what Season 3 has in store. By then, if it's still not good, it's never gonna be good, and you can save your money. That's about my, like, biggest recommendation. Season 3, or for people on a discount price, half or higher, and have fun. Other than that, I just don't see anyone else enjoying the game. That's about it. I can't really say much more. All the missions are the exact same, repeated over and over and over again. It's not mind-numbingly boring enough, and also the effects that can happen on the mission can completely ruin the flow of gameplay. Only kills with grenades, only kills with soul harvest, can only kill by critical strikes. Just ruins it, especially seeing their base missions that don't happen in the end game missions at all so far. It's great. I love it. Just brilliant. Anyway, yeah, that was Justice League Kill the Suicide Squad. You can make your own opinion from what you saw in the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. I can't believe this was nearly an hour 50. That is insane.